Hi and welcome to Schofield's Flowers, the home of Scof on Scof. I'm Steve Schofield.
I'm Chris Fraterrigo. People call me Fratty.
Yeah, I'm Tommy Harkey.
No,
the
Tommy,
director of the
no,
show.
you're a PA. Get back. Get back.
Our PA always trying to steal the show. And during our shows, we're going to be talking about true crime
Lifestyle.
and sports,
More likely some hockey, though.
always hockey. So enjoy the show.
And away we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, welcome to Schofield's Flowers podcast, home of Scof on Scof.
It'll
I
be
know.
interesting.
That's why I like going to the tattoo shop. What about you?
Right? No, but
That gets everything off of my mind. Motorcycles and tattoos.
once I get some time, though, I'm going to go get a dragon on
Right.
my elbow right here, dragon head.
Right.
So working on this sleeve. I got this sleeve here.
Yep.
Did I ever tell you about my first tattoo, though?
Oh, let's hear about it.
And I know you said you got a good one, too.
Oh, I do. It's pretty good.
So, my dad's a hunter. You know my dad.
Yep.
And he's hunted all sorts of things. Buffalo, caribou, deer, not elk yet, but hopefully soon. Antelope, a lot of pigs, turkeys. But probably my favorite thing he's ever hunted, and the meat's okay. It's still good, but it's okay. It's not the best meat. Elk is probably one of the best. Buffalo, or
Right.
some
Yep.
of the
I've had
best.
them both. Yep.
But black bear.
I I have never had black bear.
So he got a 500-pound, over 6-foot black bear.
Oh my God.
We have the rug. It's in his living room. Its name is Fred. When the
Fred.
Ducks are in the playoffs,
Yeah.
he wears like the rally towels.
Yeah.
When
Does
the Angels
he put on the rug over his head and walks into the stadium?
No, he hasn't done that yet. He hasn't gone true grit on us yet.
Yeah.
But when the Angels are in the playoffs, because we're Orange County sports teams fans, he's always
Sure.
supporting the Angels. But so this is, 15, 16 years ago. We had
Yep.
so much meat; it took us 2 years to eat all
Oh
the
my
bear
God.
meat. And
So you got a fridge downstairs, like a freezer.
yeah, we got a
Yeah.
freezer. We
I
put all
see.
the meat in it.
I say downstairs because I grew up in Chicago.
Right.
So
There's no
I'm used to-
basements here.
Yeah, I'm used to having a basement.
But so I'm at this tattoo shop. My friend's getting tattooed, and we're talking to the guy, and my friend goes, "Dude, this guy's got bear meat. You got to try it." And all of a sudden, this other tattooer kind of perks up. He's like, "What'd you say?" And I was like, "Oh, my dad, shot a bear. We have all this bear meat. Name a cut of meat. We probably have it, among other stuff. Summer sausage, pepperoni sticks. It's just made out of the bear meat." And he goes, "Dude, I will tattoo you if I can get some of that bear meat." He lists off all these animals he's had, but never
Now,
had
was
bear.
was with that beard? Was he that you got there? Was he a bear too?
No, he wasn't. He wasn't a bear, Scof.
That's right. Yeah, because got to be careful with those guys.
This isn't West Hollywood, Scof.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I do
But-
have a good friend of mine who's a bear, and I love that guy to death, Guy C. So which he would be getting a good, huge laugh over that comment. And he's like, "Hell yeah, I'll give you some bear love."
Yeah.
Sorry.
But
Interrupt you.
so I go home. I pick up a pound of pepperoni sticks.
Right.
And I bring it up, and I'm like, "Here you go. Here's some bear meat." He's like, "Done. What do you want?" So I end up getting a skull and crossbones on my ribs. When I was getting it done, I was like, this is the last tattoo I'm getting. This sucks. And, I get it done. It only took like an hour or whatever.
Yeah.
Have the tattoo. Obviously, it wasn't my last tattoo.
Yeah,
But
I could tell.
I traded bear meat for a tattoo, and that was my first one.
Oh, that's fantastic. I love it. So I might as well go to my story about my tattoo, which, of course I'm loaded too. And I want to actually, start on this arm, but oh my God, my wife's and then I want to get the hands and the knuckles. I want to actually put Scof on my hand here, because it's like people, I'll say, introduce myself as Scof, and they're like, "What, Scof?" And I'm like, "No, Scof." And I want to just like, whoosh, right? So I wind up having, I don't know what it is, but you want to go get a tattoo, right? And the very first tattoo I ever got, it's up on my upper arm here, and I remember, I got it all, you get your pen lines done, you get your lines done first, right? And, I show up at home and my wife is like, what the fuck is that? She says, you said you were going to get a tattoo. I thought you were going to get like a heart maybe with my name and this entire like, English countryside with a castle and everything, right? So then the next thing, I go back for another tattoo and, she goes, where are you? And I says, I'm getting a tattoo. She goes, please tell me you're not doing that again. I says, I swear to God, I'm just so sorry, honey, but I don't know, it's sort of addicting, So she says, you better not get, I know you've been looking at a lot of like girls with tattoos and everything. You better not get a girl tattooed on your arm. And sure enough, I went out and I got this fantastic tattoo here. And there's this fantastic artist, Angelique Houtkamp, out of Amsterdam, who I just love their work. Well, because I've been going to Amsterdam a lot, so unfortunately, I didn't have the time to go back to Amsterdam to get it done by her. But I did get a good friend of mine does traditional tattooing, and he did a fantastic job. And I just laugh every time I think about her saying, "You better not be getting a girl on your arm." And I said, "Honey, it's really art. Trust me. It's not a tattoo of a girl. It's a painting of a famous artist out of Amsterdam." And
It's walking art.
yeah, I didn't talk to her for about a week.
Oh, my mom cried when I told her I had one. So I don't know.
Yeah.
And till this day, I still get more. And every time, it's a shake of the head. What did you do? Did you get another tattoo? Yeah, but I've had it for like 3 months now. I just haven't seen you. And then by the time she sees me again, there's another one. Yep. And she's just like, I don't even want to know.
Well, it's personalizing yourself again, like we talked in our last episode, right? Yep. I mean, you like a dark beer, what is this beer here today? I want to ask you about this.
So this is from Mumford in downtown LA.
Wow.
And Mumford Brewing. And this is a cacao stout, or a chocolate stout. But you'll notice it has a little bit of a coffee-ness to it. But it's a chocolate stout right there in downtown LA.
I've been cheating a little bit. I started early.
Yeah, you did. Did you get a little sun, Scof, or you just been drinking, right?
No, how'd you know? I'm Irish, Fratty. I'm always drinking. And so, my nose and everything. I was like looking in the mirror and I was like, I didn't have any makeup here today. So here I am. You look like you got a little makeup better than me, So
I'm just Italian, Scof. I got that natural glow.
Yeah, you got that. There you go. So I'm gonna try this chocolate beer, as you might say.
You try it, and then when you're done, you tell me what the hell you're wearing. I know you're dapper. I know you're a fashionista. But what was your get up today?
You know what? Like as we talked about, last time, I mentioned that dapper is becoming very popular, right? And we've been talking about how you personalize everything in your own life.
I went to the that Gatsby Prohibition era party last week.
Oh my God!
Had a blast, dressed up. I appreciate the the bow tie you gave me.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, and I bet you got a ton of compliments, right?
Everywhere I go.
Everywhere. I mean, with the tie. So I went this past weekend. I went to the Gangster Museum in Las Vegas, and then you're looking at all these gangsters, and it's like in all these photos. I mean, those guys dressed up. I mean, I'm talking full-on three-piece suits, and tie. I didn't see any bow ties, but you might see some of the performers might and things like that. But I had like.
Reminds me of Boardwalk Empire. The suits they were wearing. The silks, the loud colors. Yep. They always had flowers or, pocket square like yourself.
Yeah.
And, you think about like today, a lot of businesses are casual. There's, you don't really have to dress up to them.
LA especially.
Yeah, but that's that's what we wear. We wear jeans, we wear t-shirts, we're a little more casual, but we still are fashionistas, as we say when we wear it. But back in those days, everyone wore suits, and so when you went to work, you wore what you wore, which was a nice suit.
Yeah. Yeah, my dad always wore hats, as we both enjoy hats, but we have very little hair on top, so I think the hat is almost like our hair at times.
It's
right?
an extension,
Yeah,
but I've been wearing
yeah.
hats, gosh, since I was a little kid.
I've
I've always worn hats, even when I had my, curly blonde hair.
Yep.
And I always used to try to wear it as long as I could to get that hat hair.
Yep.
And
Yep.
look at it with some
So
friends.
you have blonde hair.
I had blonde hair growing up. It turned
Now
brown.
Now you're a ginger.
And now I have a ginger beard.
Yeah, yeah, I
they
love it.
say it's probably because being from our family's from Sicily.
Uh-huh.
It's a trade port, so
Right.
Greeks and other ethnicities come through,
Right,
and
right.
kind of get in the bloodstream there.
Nice. Who's your hat by?
My hat is by Yellow 108 in Long Beach.
Nice. I love that hat. Is that like a dark green?
It is. It's a dark green. I actually picked it up on a fabric sale they were doing. So
looks great. Yeah.
they're trying out some new colors and picked it up, and it's kind of my staple hat now. But I'm looking for one that's a little bit smaller, a little bit shorter brim, kind of just sits on the top of the head. So when I find the right one, I'll definitely bring it in.
Oh, well, I mean, if you want to go in and really try one on, I would suggest you go over to Strongholds over there in Venice on Abercrombie, because that's where I got my Stetson, and I've bought several hats and vests and you name it. I absolutely love them. I mean, they have such a great selection of hats, and the Stetson. I mean, the thing I love about the hats now is that you would think that you had to carry, back in the day, they would have like these round hat carriers,
I've seen them.
And now it's like, I just pack it up, I flip it upside down, put like my t-shirts and underwear and socks in it in my suitcase if I'm going out of town. I take this hat everywhere. It's sort of like my staple hat, and I have.
It's your logo.
20. It's my logo. There you go.
It is you.
It is me. So Scof on Scof.
Right.
So I dig it. So it's I just like what's going on right now with men's clothing.
Yep.
I really digging it.
Now, who's your friend that's up in Pasadena? I know we're talking about getting some nice three-piece suits like McGregor there.
Yeah.
Maybe going to the Mob Museum when we're in Vegas for the
Yeah.
Golden Knights game, and dressing up, being all dapper.
Yeah, I think we'll probably be the most dapper guys if we do that. But that's my buddy Jeffrey Plansker. He's a director. His family's out of Detroit. His dad's like a true, his dad ran Chevy. It was the head of production at Campbell Weldon. One of the most, fantastic guy. I can't even, I call him Pops. He's like my own father. And, Jeffrey, we started together in the business and, came out here to LA. Jeff's always had great style. He always loves anything that's old school. And we've been talking a lot about different things. And, I had drinks with him not long ago. And he's opening up a shop called The Bloke. And the bloke is, all about being dapper for, men. And I think dapper's coming back, to be honest with you. And
Is his tagline going to be "Bloke me"?
And bloke me. I'll ask him. How's that?
You can have it for free.
Yeah, there you go. Well, he is one of the best brandy guys I've ever met. But I'm excited. The shoes he's going to have, the clothing. I mean, it's going to take, to be totally dialed in about $3,800 for a, three-piece suit, tie, shoes, shirts, and everything. But again, customized to who you are. So it's opening up shortly. I believe probably. It's coming. I wish I could give a date, but it will be in October sometime. And, we're going to have to, I actually told him I thought that, it might be a good thing for us to do a show over there. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we can definitely do a show. We can go in, try on some suits, get it up on the Instagram, maybe do a live story or something from there.
I mean, you don't try them on. You actually have them measured. Well, he has suits.
Yep.
And they're measured to you. He has to tailor the whole bit. Yep. So, I mean, everything is customized, I mean, I don't know about you. I might have to watch out a bit because my weight goes up and down. I actually got a vest that I had taken in, taken out, taken in. It cost me like $200 to have it taken in, taken out, taken in.
See, I don't have that issue yet.
Yeah.
But, from being an athlete, I'm not the tallest.
Right.
But, I think at my pinnacle, I had a 24-inch thigh.
Wow.
So, and a 34-inch waist.
Wow.
So nothing fits me off the rack. Everything, I almost need to be custom in some fashion, just because, I wear a large shirt, not because I'm tall, but because I have broad shoulders and,
Well, back in the 20s and 40s and things, men didn't have a lot of clothing. You went into a closet, there was like 3 suits. And that's, you had maybe 2 pairs of shoes, a couple suits, and then you had a couple hats, and that was your wardrobe. I mean, nowadays you have a ton of choices, but
That's called a metrosexual, I think, Scof. It's a little bit different from the Bears.
Yeah, right. So what would I be called? Scof.
I just call you Scof.
Thank you.
You're your own brand.
Yeah, well, thank you. I know I'm a verb now, so I was telling my wife I might change my name just to Scof, and forget the Steve Schofield, and she was like, "You can't do that," and I said, "Yeah, I can do anything I want to do," right? So we'll see what happens with that, but I just. It does make it a limited edition, and you're always looking dressed up. And if you walked into a room just looking good all the time, there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong at all. I think you'll command a room. People are going to want to know, who is that person?
Yeah.
And when everyone else is wearing flip-flops and shorts and a tank, you come in 3-piece suit, looking your best. You're going to draw some heads.
I got to tell you, when I was talking to him, he was turning me on to. So I said, "Well, what about
What other guys turn you on, Scof?"
Very good, Fratty. I'll be careful in my wording in the future with you. Yeah, bear. Anyways, I said to him, I said, "Jeff, what about Jesus, $3,800, right?" And he goes, "Hey, look, if you go to, you want a real suit, I mean, that's a lot cheaper than, several different places that you would go to Prada or whatever, right?" And he said, and this one's being actually done to your custom, right? And he said, I said, "Well, what about like a nice smoking jacket?" And he goes, "Oh, there's a great place out of London." And, he gave me the name, and I said, and he says, "Oh, check this out." And he shows me, I wish I could remember the name, and, he shows me a smoking jacket, and it was actually like Playboy. What's the guy from Playboy?
Hugh Hefner?
Hugh Hefner, excuse me. Is he dead or alive, by the way?
He's still kicking.
He's still kicking.
I'm
He
sure
got
he's
a lot of
still
formaldehyde with that guy, right? It's like going to Bernie. What was the
Burning Man?
Yeah, no, not Burning Man. Remember my vacation with Bernie?
Oh, yeah.
What was it called?
It escapes me, but it's
yeah.
something with Bernie. Weekend at Bernie's.
Weekend at Bernie's. One of the funniest damn movies.
I think we've had a few too many pops.
There you go. But so he shows me the smoking jackets, and they're long, like robes. And so I was like, "Wait, what happened to this short?" And he goes, "Well, you can have a short smoking jacket, but," he goes, "if you're going to have a real smoking jacket, it's going to look like a robe." So men would typically wind up, so they'd show up for dinner in their bow tie, their beautiful jacket, like a really nice suit, or it would be a tuxedo, bow tie and a whole bit. And the next thing you know, he said after dinner, they would put on their smoking slippers, right? And then they'd put on their jacket. And the jacket was longer. And I says, "Wow, that's crazy." He goes, "The reason they had that material and it wrapped all the way around you is because they would have their scotch and their cigar. And then while they sat there, that type of fabric actually, it took in all the smoke, right? So the rest of your clothes, when you took it off and went home, didn't smell like cigar smoke."
It's funny you say that, because last night my girlfriend was at a bonfire.
Right.
And, she gets home and, jumps into bed, and I'm like, "Why do you smell like smoke?" Like, I had no idea. And
I know she's smoking hot.
she is, but, lay off. She's mine. But yeah, no, so that makes sense, because, it's not a pleasant smell when it's secondhand like that.
Yeah.
And so that makes sense that they would do that. And
I got to hang my stuff up outside. Every time I have a cigar, I got to hang my stuff outside. And even if, like tonight, I'll have a cigar because my wife's out of town, but I guarantee I'm going to have a cigar, and I'm going to have to hang it's just habit. I go hang it outside so the house doesn't, because the minute she walks in on Sunday, because it's Saturday today, the minute she walks in, boom, she's going to say, "You've been smoking cigars." Anyways.
Yeah, no, Scof, I know you talked about, it's old school to wear a suit, get dressed up, and that's how you went. Something that has been going on in hockey, something that we're both familiar with, is kind of the dying breed of enforcers, of fighting in hockey.
Yep.
Everyone in the NHL today is skilled. Your fourth line guys used to be, heavyweights. They went out there for 4 or 5 minutes a game. All they did was fight. And now,
you always had a fighter. He was always 6'2", and he'd go up against the next 6'2".
Right, and now your fourth line, they're chipping in 5 to 10 goals apiece.
Yep.
They can all skate. They're all skilled. We talked about in the last podcast where everyone now is so skilled They're all specializing in their training.
Yep.
That there's just no longer room for the fighters who don't have skill.
Yep. Yep.
But there's also been ways the NHL or hockey in general has been kind of forcing them out, by mandating certain penalties for fighting, the instigator rule. They're making them wear half shields now.
Yeah.
I come from, still watching hockey back, in some of the glory days. I remember the Avalanche and the Red Wings duking it out in the playoffs with Roy and Osgood fighting.
Yeah.
And Mike Vernon.
Right.
And they would just duke it out in the playoffs. The regular season, there was always fighting going on. Now today, if you get one fight in a game, you're pretty stoked.
Yeah. And the fans love it.
And fans do love it.
They love a good fight. But I think, what's happening with hockey right now and with kids and even football, there's just so many head injuries, And I think that, for whatever reason, they feel that hockey in the NHL needs to be more about skating and scoring, Hell, I'm older than you, and I watched, guys like Bobby Hall. People didn't want to fight Bobby Hall. He was so strong that if he hit you, he'd kill you, used to say, so nobody wanted to fight him. But, I've seen some of the fighting greats, back in the day. But, I just think like anything, the times change, and, the NHL is trying to make a statement. I think the shields have really saved a lot of, eyesights, broken noses, and, whatever it takes. Although I remember when I didn't wear a shield, that the sticks were down more.
I agree. Playing in juniors, we were able to wear visors, versus minor and college hockey. And lo and behold, I only ever got high-sticked by guys wearing cages because not everyone was old enough to wear a visor. And I think it's a respect thing because just as well as them, if you're not wearing a cage, you could get hit in the face. And same with fighting. If there's no fighting, and I take a run at someone, I know the worst I can get is a penalty. No one can do anything to me, otherwise they get kicked out of the game. And even risk a large penalty that could result in goals, and you don't want to put your team down. Everyone's sacrificing for the greater good, not for individual reasons. And in college, that used to happen all the time. Guys would get, after the whistle, they'd slash you with their stick when the ref wasn't looking because you couldn't go over and fight them because it's not allowed in NCAA. But in juniors, I would drop my gloves, I'd hit you in the face, and you'd either defend yourself or you wouldn't. And next time you came across me, you probably aren't going to do that again.
Right.
And that's where I think with hockey, it's something that needs to be, there's a middle ground. The stage fighting, no one wants to see that where they just fight for the sake of fighting. But I think when emotions run high, it's one of those things where it allows you to control the game, but also control your emotions. I'd much rather have two guys going head to head fighting than someone run someone from behind, and kill someone because no one's died from fighting in hockey. There's only a few incidences documented that fighting's ever caused a concussion. Heck, guys are getting concussions from shoulder to shoulder hits, and it's their head whiplashing.
Or head hits, in the corners or whatever it is.
And if you go back to football, which there's a lot of concussion issues, the reason they only ever wore helmets in the first place was for skull fractures. And then once they got helmets, then they wore more padding because helmets are made out of plastic. And you look at rugby, where's all the head injuries in rugby? They wear no paddings.
I just think, it's so funny. When my kid was playing in the minors, he was playing with out of Connecticut, and he was playing with a team called the Mad Hatters in Danbury.
Sounds like us.
Yeah, right? There you go. And there was a full team brawl. Both teams on the ice brawling. Even the coaches were fighting. It's one of the best fights I've ever seen. I was there for the fight. The fans enjoyed every bit of it. It took about an hour to clean it up. I never seen anything like it. But, I don't know. I think just the safety issues now and everything are just so, with kids playing and so many kids now. We've talked about it in our last episode about, Vegas having hockey, Anaheim, when I came out, there was hardly any hockey. Gretzky came out and it became big here in Los Angeles. So I like a faster game. I
Agreed.
mean, I like a faster, high-scoring game. They've shrunk the pads down now, and every team. I mean, Jesus, did you ever know a defenseman that was faster and better turning capabilities than a forward? Nowadays, the defensemen are better than the forwards in their skating capabilities.
I'd say probably on every team, there's a defenseman in the top 5 of points.
Yep.
And it's
Yep.
not just because of assists. They're probably top 5 in goals, too.
Yeah. So I think that, with what's happened is, I guess safety is the most important issue, and and longevity with these guys coming out of there and having head injuries or whatever it takes. So at the end of the day, my kid had to hang up the skates because he kept on getting groin injuries. And then I went to his hips, and then I went to his back, and he's 35 years old, and he's had to get 2 back surgeries, 5th and 6th, and and the next thing he's probably going to get is he might have to get the shots where stem cell. And it sucks to see him in the type of pain he is at times, and but he's doing the best he can, to get through it.
So I know you talk about safety. Do you think the game's safer without fighting and just a bunch of skilled players, or do you think there's still a place to police it?
I think it's sports is entertainment, and entertainment means you got to have a fight or two in a game. I mean, you've seen the tempo change so many times when there's a fight going down, right? You got a team that's down 5-2, you're going into the third period. There's a fight at the end of the second period, right? 1 minute into 1 minute left in the game, or in the second period, and then boom, a fight goes down, and whatever player wins. Hopefully, the guys that are losing, that team, that fighter wins. They go in the locker room, they're like fucking pumped, right? And then the next thing you know, they're like coming out and. Hockey can turn around on a dime.
And it's not just, I think, in a game. I think it could be in a season. Because you have guys who maybe aren't fighters who will stick up for a teammate or get in a scrap. And all of a sudden, you get this energy because someone that is unexpected to be a fighter steps up and does something. And it builds character. You always hear about the fighters are some of the best guys off the ice. I think it was Stu Grimson, former Duck. He wrote children's book as his hobby. And, Paul Bissonnette, he was a longtime fighter for the Coyotes. I think he played 5 or 6 years in the NHL, spent some time in the minors. He just recently hung him up. But he has the most followers on Twitter outside of Ovechkin. And I think Ovechkin may or may not have scored more goals in one game than he has an entire career. And now Paul Bissonnette is going on to be a broadcaster because he's a personality. He has character. And you always hear about teams, it's about the guys with character, locker room guys that help keep a team together, not only in the regular season, which is 82 games over 6 months, but in the postseason, which is a grueling, basically every other day, high-intensity hockey, and they're laying it on the line. They put themselves before anyone else, and no one goes.
That's your role. You know what? You got role players, right?
Right. No one goes into hockey wanting to fight.
No.
But they take it to enhance their careers. Hell, I fought in the minors. I have 5 minutes of penalty for a fight and a -1 in the minor leagues as my stats. And I'm 5'9".
Yeah.
And, it was my opportunity to try to show them, hey, if I can't score in a game, I'm at least going to be tough and no one's going to push me around. It gives people chances to be locker room guys, to do other things beyond just scoring goals because that's what you need to win a championship.
I agree. And I guess there's a happy medium, hopefully. And, I will end with I had a kid that was playing for me. We were in Arizona, and the kid was going to go skate. Going to college, and he was going to be wearing a cage. He just turned 18, so you could take that cage off.
Best day of my life.
Yeah, right. And then all of a sudden you got that half shield, right? And I told the kid, I said, listen, you're going to college. You're already been accepted. You don't need to take that. You don't need to take that cage off and put that half shield on, because if you do, I said, you still could get your teeth racked, right? So I'm just telling you, like, your parents, like, you got a nice set of, choppers there, kid. So he takes that damn cage. Scof, don't worry about it. Coach, don't worry about it. I know what, I've been waiting to get, like you just said, best day of your life, right?
Yep. Next
thing you know, he takes that damn cage off and he puts on that shield. He went out on the very first shift, and he was going into the zone, and somehow the defenseman's stick got stuck with the other player going by, and when that player went by, that stick ricocheted, and hit this kid right across the teeth. He lost 5 teeth. And you know what? He wore that half shield before, and with his parents, with his mom and dad in the stand, with his mom in the stands. And the next thing you know, he's like on the ice collecting all his teeth, and he comes to the bench. He goes, "Coach, my mom's gonna kill me."
You know, his smile's probably pretty good right now.
Yeah, for an extra 10 grand. So what else? What else you been up to?
You know, recently I did some. Do you believe in magic, Scof?
I do. I love magic. Yep.
So
It's always good when you have a party and they're like, you got a guy walking around showing you some tricks and it's fun.
Absolutely. So I got a chance to go to the Magic Castle.
Yep.
If you're not from LA, never heard of it, Magic Castle's a special guild.
Been there. Fantastic.
It's here in Hollywood, and not only do they have shows. I mean, I think the biggest show is 150 people.
Right.
But then they have people sitting at a table like ours, and you're sitting at the table watching them do close-up magic. And we got there at 5:30. We left at 12:30, and not because the show ended. We just got tired, but there was nonstop action. Every room you went into, everywhere you turned, there's a little magician doing something here or a show you could go watch.
Oh, wow.
And it was an unbelievable time. The food was phenomenal. I had prime rib, but even better, I had lava cake. That was so good. I would go back just to get the lava cake and the dark chocolate ice cream.
Nice. That's I had been there years ago, and it's literally been a while, and I do love magic. I love going to a comedy, and what a great place to bring a date, right? I mean, it's something different. I mean, I think that my dad taught me a few things in life, and I always say my dad taught me 3 things in life when I was younger. He says, 1, you want to know how to dance with a girl, because when you go to the dance, what's happening? Guys are on one side, girls are on the other side. So if you're the first guy going out there to dance, you're going to be the stud, right? And he says, number 2, make sure that you you're funny, because if you're funny, he says, now you're going to make her laugh. So now you even got a better chance of landing a girl, right? And he goes, and number 3, you're going into middle school. You're the little guy. You're going to get challenged by the big guy, and you're most likely going to get in a fight. So here's what I'm telling you to do. He said, hit him square between the eyes. And he said, because when you hit him first and he goes down, by the time he's getting up, the gym teacher will be there or some teacher will be there to hold you off and split you up, and you're both going to go to the principal's office. Guess what? Better to go in as a winner than a loser.
Those are some good life lessons for all you young gentlemen out there.
Hit first, ask questions later.
First and foremost, obviously, Schofield's Flowers is the name of our podcast. It comes from your family's background, tied to the mob. What's our story today? I know we like to talk a little gangsters every now and then.
Well, I love true crime, and that's how, we started talking about, with my writer Joe Chilco and my producer Kevin Johnson. Kevin was the guy that's like, dude, you have to start telling these stories. All my life you've been telling that you were, you grew up in the mob flower shop, that you were an ex-policeman, and that, you've seen all these and heard all these great stories. I am just been fascinated by, I was contacted by a very good friend of mine who's in PR and actually has a podcast, which we've been invited to, with Jonathan Scott. And he has said to me, I own the Meyer Lansky Diaries. And if you don't know who Meyer Lansky is, he was the accountant, the CFO to the mob. Back from, and he grew up, he was a childhood boyhood friend of Lucky Luciano. So, and he was partnered with Bugsy Siegel, and they were responsible for building the Flamingo Hotel, which was totally mob.
Is that still around these days?
I believe it is.
And that's in Vegas, right?
I'd have to actually check now that I think about it.
Vegas is so different now. They got the hockey team we talked about. All these new casinos.
I should know,
We'll have to check it out.
Yeah, if it is, I would imagine it's been totally redone. It's, you know what, we'll have to talk about it in the next episode. You caught me off guard there. But, I am just fascinated. So he sent me these, we started telling me about, listen, I have, I'm a partner with a gentleman out of Vegas, and I have the Meyer Lansky Diaries, and of course Bugsy Siegel was killed here in Beverly Hills, and for skimming money from.
Didn't know that.
Yep, he was killed here in Beverly Hills, and for skimming money from, all the building of the hotel. You can only imagine the mob building a hotel in Vegas. the money was being skimmed left and right. I'm surprised they even have a flamingo left in front of, they probably finished the hotel and they just took one of those flamingos you see in front of somebody's house, planted in front of the hotel and said, here's your hotel, But literally, after they killed Bugsy Siegel here in Beverly Hills, 3 of, top, henchmen went in and they say it was from Meyer Lansky's guys, but, he was, definitely, died at old age, and he was very well known in Vegas, to the point, which I was really blown away by the diaries, is learning that in 1943 or 42, there was an actual from the government was involved in turning over and beating Mussolini with Truman, and they brought in the mob to help out, and Meyer Lansky was part of that.
Wow, I'm a huge World War II fan, and I've never heard of that. I mean, I think a lot of it's just because everything's about the Nazis or it's about the Japanese.
Yeah.
But you never really hear too much about World War II stories and Italy.
I mean, it's an amazing story, and they were gun runners, right? And so they were able to help out. And when I read this, I was like, I have literally sat back and I have literally watched like every mob movie you can think about. And I was saying, after I read this and I met with my manager and things like that, I was talking about, and I sent him over to him and he was like, dude, this is a great story. And I said, what's even better is the involvement with them in World War II.
So you're saying he sent guns to the mob in Italy.
Yep.
To kill Mussolini.
Yep. That's at least in the diaries. And, he was given the Freedom Act Award from Truman on a private dedication. So in the 40s. So at the same time, while he was, Luciano was still in jail, in federal pen. So there's some incredible stories around, Lansky and, his involvement all the way through the 70s. So I'm blown away, but I'm looking forward to getting involved one way or another with it, because they've talked to me about, because of Schofield's Flowers and because of the history we have, that the brand campaign around our business here is to make sure that we are looking at all types of true crime stories, and hopefully being able to develop them to the highest level. From whether it be a content series on YouTube or True Network or True TV, or whatever network we really want to do.
No, that's incredible, and
Yeah.
I mean, I love seeing the Scof on Scof brand continue to grow with all these different things. So, love hearing these stories. So keep it coming.
Yeah, well, thank you, and I think that's it for today.
That's it for today. Be sure to follow us on YouTube, subscribe there, subscribe to us on iTunes, comment on your favorite part, and we'll be giving away another Scof on Scof t-shirt to one lucky comment on our page, and follow us on Instagram at Schofield's Flowers.
And we'd like to thank Caravan Outpost for being our sponsor for this series. I mean, they've been fantastic, and we're going to be, in future episodes, we're going to be giving away a night free complimentary of Caravan Outpost for being our sponsor here. Thank you.
Thank you.